Hi, guys and gals of Hope Club. It is a privilege to share this week's story with you. I understand that the last story you had was about how the Hebrew people were let go by the king, the Pharaoh. And a bunch of things happened, though, that weren't very pleasant and they were very awful to go through. And maybe my question is when you've had a bunch of horrible things happen to you and you kind of go, oh, what is next? Those are the moments when we who trust in Jesus can actually use his word and say, I believe in God. I have hope in him. I have faith in that God will take care of me no matter how horrible my week was or how awful all the things were that piled up in one week. I'm sure you've had a week like that. So here's the rest of that story of the Israelites as they traveled out from Pharaoh, out of Egypt, and they were traveling with their leader, Moses. Now, when they left, they had been given lots and lots of stuff, and God led them out of Egypt, and he helped them walk along a path to get to where they were going. He gave them directions. That's kind of cool. And in the daytime, there was always this column of clouds that stayed with them to help them see which way to go. And at nighttime, the pillar of clouds became a pillar of light so that they could see as they were still traveling. So they did travel a long time every day, which probably was hard on them, but they were believing in God. They had hope in God that he would help them get to where they would be free from the Pharaoh. Well, as they traveled, they came up to a sea, an ocean type thing, right in the middle of a desert and rocks and piles of stuff everywhere. And they had to stop because they didn't have boats. They hadn't built anything. They didn't know how they were going to get through. And then a twist in the plot. Pharaoh realized that when all of the Hebrews left his kingdom, he had no one left to do all the work that they did for him. And so he got angry and he chased after them. And he had soldiers come out riding chariots being pulled by horses. And it got noisy. And the Israelites were standing at the water's edge wondering what was going to happen. And then they saw that there was a cloud of dust coming because the chariots and the horses were riding. And there was yelling and noise. And they started to get probably afraid and wondering what was going to happen. And at that time, as they asked Moses if he had trapped them, had he made it tough on them, they were kind of questioning their hope in their leader, but they shouldn't have questioned any hope in God. So God prayed, and God told Moses to raise his staff, his big walking stick that he carried everywhere, that he used in previous stories you heard about when he met with Pharaoh. He had this walking stick and he held it up and he said, God, help us do everything you want us to do. We have hope in you. We believe in you. You help us now. And as he held it up, God opened the sea in front of them, made a path through the sea for them to walk on, and they went through as quickly as they could. Now, there were lots and lots of people, and it took them a little bit of time to get through the sea. And I wonder if they saw some neat things as they walked past a wall of water. It'd be kind of like the very first Ripley's Believe It or Not aquarium of the world, and they may have seen some amazing things in the water, but they didn't get wet. That was a huge, huge miracle that God did for them. And as they finally, everybody crossed through, and at the other side of the sea, they started to hear that some of the chariots and horses were starting to come into the same path they had walked on to get through the sea. And they were like, God, you brought us through this. You gave us an amazing miracle. And now our enemies are coming and they're going to catch us. What are we going to do? And God said, you watch and see what I am going to do. And Moses had his rod, his walking stick up in the air again, and he put it down, and the sea started closing in. And the soldiers from Pharaoh, they had to quickly turn around and leave, and hopefully all of them were able to leave, but maybe some got caught. I don't know. But I do know this. that whenever the Hebrew people, led by Moses, kept their hope, their trust, their faith in God, he always performed amazing miracles for them to get to where they needed to be going. And he took care of them every step of the way, even when they grumbled, even when they complained, even when they said the food tasted all the same. God still took care of them. And that was their hope in God, and that is our hope in God. So when you've had a really crappy week or a lot of things have happened you don't like, guess what? God can take care of you. You can keep your hope in God for him to take care of everything in your life. Thank you for letting me share this. Hang on to your hope in God. He is pretty amazing and will take care of every detail of your life. Talk to you next time. Bye now.